But yeah, I was talking recently when I was streaming on Twitch about the future of education and what that is going to look like. But surprisingly, one of the biggest hurdles to education and competing education models, honestly, right now, seems to be just skepticism from people in general. Intuitively, I thought that if there were competing education models, new ways of teaching skills, that these would kind of be well received. And surprisingly, it hasn't been. Some things like coding boot camps are kind of like out in the wild, and those are something that a lot of people know about. They've heard of it. The whole learn to code movement, if you remember that on Twitter. But then you have some competing models of education like Lambda School that I think really push what a future education system looks like. Because if you have coding boot camps, that's not that much different than what we have today. But if you think about the TV model today, you buy a TV subscription, you buy one package, and you get a bunch of channels you don't want, right? So I just want ESPN, Comedy Central, maybe local stations for sports, but I get HGTV, Home Shopping Network. Is that the same thing? I don't know. All of these like home renovation show. Like, point is, you get a bunch of stuff you don't want. And that's what's happening in college today. So, colleges today are like TV. Schools in the future let you pay for what you want. That is the future of education. No longer are you going to go to college and say, hey, I want to be a software developer. And they say, okay, well, you also need to take Western civilization. You need to take American history. You need to take psychology, geology, geography. That is a relic of the past. The future is you want to learn how to program. They say, here's a course on HTML. Here's a course on CSS. Here's some JavaScript. Maybe you go towards backend development or front end development. It is not the model that exists today. And if colleges were so sure that you needed all of those other courses, don't you think you would have the flexibility or the freedom to just try out the job market? Say, hey, I'm going to do all of these courses in the first year and a half, the first 2 years, see where this takes me. And if I can't get a job on the market like you're saying I can't, then I'll come back and I'll take American Civ and geography and geology. And then you can prove to me that I can't get a job. But the reason they don't even give you this option is because they know it's all bullshit. If they only let you take the courses that you think you need, you would be in college for a year and a half, 2 years. You would cut the amount that you're giving the university essentially in half. But Lambda School, which I think should be celebrated for what they're doing, is somehow criticized left and right. Most of the criticism with Lambda School comes from how they're funding your education. I don't understand how we can be in a situation today where people are paying tens of thousands of dollars every year to go to school, get a degree, they get out, they can't get a job, and now they have tens of thousands of dollars in debt. It blows my mind that there's a competing model here. Lambda School is trying to do that, and somehow people are actually criticizing them for this. This is actually like some bad thing to them. Lambda School is saying, we don't think so. So not only are they reducing the courses you need to take to what you actually need to get a job, but in addition to that, Lambda School, oh, here it is. I actually stopped on it and I didn't think I saw it. No tuition until you're hired. That is quite a model to have when you're competing with colleges. If colleges did that, what, 10% of the students would pay? Or the colleges would find some bullshit way to get around that. They'd be like, okay, we get it. You were pre-med, but you got a job at Starbucks, dude. So what they're doing is they're waiting until you get a job. And then once you get that job and it's over a certain amount, then they're just taking a little bit of money off of that. This is where people lose their minds. The language they use. My God, settle down, guys. They're like, oh, this is basically slavery. This is indentured servitude. They're just becoming indebted to Lambda School. I kind of see where you're going with it, but how is that any different than college? For some people, this isn't going to be the ideal option for them, and that's fine. But that's the point of allowing competition in certain markets is that you have competition and now you have choices. This is what the future should be. Not only Lambda School, there can be 50 different competing models, but there has to be something more than college. I think this is one of the most important things for today because people can't get jobs. People are in an insane amount of debt. And this has to get fixed because colleges are just so far behind. They're just not current. And everybody's going to be skeptical. And then before you know it, that's the new world that we're living in, and nobody sees it coming.